All right, thank you, CS. More news at 7:30. Right now, we're going to head back to the studio and Mark.
All right, thank you, Anita. I want you to check your calendars. Look ahead at 2012. Do you have the end of the world on your calendar in 2012? No? Well, the Mayans did. And here to talk to us about that this morning is Professor Mark Myers, Professor of Materials Science at University of California, San Diego. How did we get from that to talking about the Mayans and their prophecy that the world was going to end?
Well, I'm a researcher, and I was working on a JPL NASA project in which had the Mars return mission. And there is a definite possibility and danger of contamination if we bring Martian bugs, or Mars bugs as they are called, to back. And I was involved in making sure that the capsule was completely closed. So this kind of triggered this story in my mind.
So it's interesting. So you ended up with a novel called Mayan Mars that you wrote about bringing back some kind of a bug from Mars, and it just decimates the planet, basically the end of the world, in the year 2012. Now, how does that sync up with Mayan tradition and the Mayan belief and other cultures' belief that the world was going to end in 2012?
The Mayans, they studied the stars in great detail and at great depth. They had a civilization that was very advanced, and they had the calendar, the Mayan calendar that ends in the year 2012. It's not the end, but it's the end of the calendar. And they also have their Popol Vuh, which is their sacred book, saying that there will be no glory or greatness until the complete man is born. And this novel contains somewhat of a Mayan redemption.
So you tied your science in with Mayan
yes.
I don't want to say mythology, because
mysticism,
for all I know that they got it right. For all I know, we're not in 2012
That's
yet.
Right.
Now, there are other cultures that, interestingly, they'll pick the year 2012, are there not?
Yes, there are others, and it has all to do with the conjunction of the stars. It has to do with the Venus that has in the horizon in the year 2012. And there is a cycle of the stars calendar on the stars.
Now, I just was noticing here that the main character in this book happens to be a scientist. He happens to live in San Diego. He also happens to be a surfer. Does that remind you of anybody you know?
No, it's
Isn't
not.
this you?
No. I haven't had an affair with a sexy student.
Not yet. Not yet. Well, that's, the day is young.
So he's actually a biologist, and he's half Chinese, half Mexican. He has a Mexican mother and a Chinese father. So he's quite an interesting character, and he has a dark side to him, and he has also a very bright side to him.
It's a fascinating premise, the marriage of the science and the mysticism here.
Yeah.
Exactly what is a professor of materials science?
We study materials stuff, plastics, composites, metals, and I specifically study also biomaterials like abalone shells, toucans. I spent actually 30 years studying explosives and blowing things up, and now I'm going more in...
See, now that's where people will recognize you from.
Yes, that's right.
We ran a story recently about the bill of the toucan,
right.
and how it had these incredible properties that we might be able to use in airplanes.
Yes, it will. Yes, yeah, it will. It's not that we're going to use toucan beaks in airplanes, but the concept of the toucan beak, which is a composite structure, very sophisticated composite structure, because the toucan, otherwise the toucan would go on a nosedive.
Right, because it would be so heavy, but it's very light, very powerful.
Very light and very
so that's
strong.
one of the things you're studying. Well, look, the concept of the book, Mayan Mars, absolutely fascinating. Thanks for coming in. Where can we find this?
All the bookstores should have it by now, or Amazon.com, and it's published by a local publisher, Sunbelt. They can go sunbeltbooks.com, Amazon.com.
It'll all be at fox6.com as well under Hot Topics. Professor Mark Myers, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And we'll be talking to you more. You've got 100 stories in there.
Yes, I have more stories. Yes.
I'll bet. All right, thanks.